This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
He was a Giant, and he was a Cowboy. Now these two former rivals have joined forces to bring you the most insightful, perceptive, and controversial sports talk podcast in America. Former Dallas Cowboys defensive end Jim Jeffcoat locks horns with former New York Giants wide receiver Byron Williams. And now, here's Byron Williams and Jim Jeffcoat.
Good evening, Byron. How are you this evening?
How you doing?
I am doing well.
Man, this month is going almost as out.
Yes, it's going fast.
Today is Dr. J's birthday. 2-2. Dr. J. Happy birthday, Dr. J.
Happy birthday,
That's kind of the way I played basketball. That's kind of the way I played basketball back in the day.
You played basketball like that. You played.
Oh.
I played it from way back there. You see that arm go back? Like Dr. J.
You probably played basketball on the bottom of the pile.
No. I was above the rim.
I bet you played 6 minutes, you had 5 fouls.
Nope. Because I could jump. I could really jump. You know, I used to put $1 on the top of the backboard, go get it, and put 4 quarters as change. Because I could jump so high.
You're a bad boy. You did that. Hey, they had the slam dunk contest, and they had some good basketball stuff this weekend.
I know. The guy from Texas Tech won it.
Yeah. He played at University of Texas or Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Yeah, he's what, 6'2"?
He's 6'2". That was pretty too.
He did an amazing job. Amazing job. I think he had a shoe contract after the dunk contest.
Yeah, I think he had just came to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay.
You know, I had been a New York Jersey Nets fan when Dr. J played for the Nets.
Right.
He went to Philly. I went to Philly with him because I was such a Dr. J fan. I saw him play at the Rutgers.
Okay.
I saw him play at the Rutgers.
I don't have to show you a picture. I had the afro like Dr. J. You know, my hair was flying in the wind.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
a long time ago.
He could fly. He put it back like that.
Yeah. He could fly. He could fly.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I'm a big Dr. J fan. But let's get on to. We got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. We're gonna get into some basketball, but football. There's a lot of things going on. Let's start out with the New York Football Giants.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones changed agents. He changed agents. They say that he wants $45 million a year. They're going to probably have.
I don't think he deserved $45 million. I think he around $40 million player.
You may say that, but here's my point on all this stuff going on. We argue about a player wanting as much as he can.
Yeah.
But the owners are billionaires. And I'm going to use this as an example. And I'm not saying right or wrong what Daniel Jones is asking for, but Daniel Snyder, with a possibility, is going to sell the Washington Commanders for $7 billion.
That's the going rate.
Did you hear what I said?
That's the going rate.
$7 billion. So what is wrong with a Daniel Jones who helped the Giants get to the playoffs asking for $45 million a year?
Well, one thing I think is the timing of it, first of all. And it's the importance of you considering that you need to sign Saquon Barkley as well.
Yes.
So you got 2 good football players that can help you with the success that you had last year to get you to the next level this coming up year. So they need to sign both players. So in the best interest of that, how can you just be selfish and say, I want $45 million?
And we don't know that for sure. That's just what they're saying.
Right.
But here's my thing is, say they do get both of them. Where are they going to get the money under the salary cap to get other positions. They need receivers. They let Sterling Shepard go. They signed, is it Hoskins? Isaiah Hoskins. They signed him back. They're going to get rid of the other receiver who they got in free agency who hasn't really panned out.
Yeah, from Detroit. Yeah.
From Detroit. And that's what I'm questioning is although you need a quarterback. I think, and here's my reasoning behind this. And if you look at the NFL in the present day, running backs are short term, and we'll get on to why I say that later. But running backs are short term, whereas a quarterback, now you're having quarterbacks playing to their 40s. So what is a better investment? Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley?
Well, for his position is Daniel Jones, quarterback. But for his impactfulness and what you can do for me right now is Saquon Barkley.
But here's my example, and I'm not saying Daniel Jones is this player. Patrick Mahomes. They took a guy, I think they drafted him, or he was a free agent. The kid from Rutgers, the running back. And he starred in obviously the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So here's my point. Do you need a top flight running back to get to the Super Bowl? Miles Sanders from Philadelphia wasn't a big time running back.
Well, they had the Eagles can have three good running backs, and they used all of them just based off of what they bring to the table. I think that's a good concept. I think now you have to have two good running backs, just like you have to have two good quarterbacks.
I agree, but that's my point is that you can find running backs because they're not taking the load that you've seen in the past. You don't see the Barry Sanders. You don't see the Emmitt Smiths. You don't see the Eric Dickersons. But you got to find a quarterback that can get you to that next level. Receivers are to me, in this day and time, receivers are more important than running backs. And I'm not saying that, but it's just we'll get to Zeke Elliott. There was a report out today that scouts and analysts saying that he's on his last leg. They're saying basically that Zeke Elliott, the only team that he could function for is the Cowboys.
That's what they say, yeah. That's what they say.
And I'm just saying that I'm not saying that Saquon Barkley is not a great player. But what I'm saying, for the value, you can get running backs. There are running backs that have come out. There's only one running back with a number one, with a first-round grade, and that's Bijan Robinson.
From Texas. Yeah.
But if you look at the running back that plays for Tulane, that guy is pretty good, and they're going to be – you can find running backs. Quarterback is difficult to find.
Yeah, it's just like Pollard with the Cowboys. He was that sort of guy coming out of college. I mean, he came in and done well.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You can find a running back that could be functional for you. But if you don't have a functional quarterback, then you got issues unless you got the Baltimore Ravens. There's a documentary on the Baltimore Ravens, a defense like that, and they're far and few between in this day and time. That's why I said Daniel Jones. Does he deserve $45 million? Probably not. But if that's the market, he's gonna get the market.
Well, if I was the Giants, my first priority would be to sign Saquon Barkley. That would be my first priority.
But the Baltimore, when he was in Buffalo, he was a good running back, but was he a great running back? No. And they won games. They got to the championship game. So that's why my point is that you don't need the Hall of Fame running back anymore because of the game, the way the game has changed. And I think in the next couple of years, it's going to go back. People are going to start running two backs, tight end, and two wide receivers. More of a pro set. And the reason is because everybody's spreading out. So there's some colleges that are starting to do that because now you don't know how to prepare. All these young guys, all they've seen, and you see younger and younger coordinators, you see younger and younger head coaches. They're not used to seeing pro sets. They're used to seeing these wide open spread sets.
Yeah.
You have to adjust to them.
And I think that's why they're hiring a lot of college coaches now too, because of even your linebackers. They are a little bit smaller, can run, and they have to. And then the tight end. Look at the tight end. These guys are very talented.
Exactly. People go back to the old pros because everything is cyclical in football. Everybody thinks this is the greatest thing to the sliced bread open in the field, but somebody's gonna say, "Wait a minute, we're gonna make this back to ground and pound." And like you said, everybody's gonna be smaller, and the linebackers and the safeties because they're all developed for the pass.
But one of the things I noticed too at the Super Bowl, I went out to the Exos where they had about 50 guys, potential draft choices out there working out in Arizona. And man, you talking about they were running these guys. They did just as much running as a wide receiver would do back in the day. And these guys are very, they're very, very versatile and can run, move laterally and fast muscle twist stuff that they do. So, they got these ropes and these things behind them. So it's all about speed of the game. And now you have a different type of athlete. They train differently.
I agree. But here's the problem I have with this is you saw last year the defensive lineman that the Philly drafted from Georgia. He was 340-something pounds.
Right.
And he was 4'7".
Yep.
But my problem is what is his 10 and 20 split? That's all I care about. Because in the NFL, if you got defensive linemen running 40 yards, then you got problems.
Yeah, absolutely. You ain't got no defense.
In that short area.
But this is the deal with the NFL now. The game is faster. Yeah. You're running more plays. And then you got an 18-week schedule. 18 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And you can look at the record of all the teams to see what players played all 18 weeks without being on injury reserve.
That's true.
It's not that many. Players get hurt. They get hurt. And you got to have – that's why they added more players to the practice roster.
So that also, to your point, is it's more likely a quarterback would have the opportunity to play 18 games. And it's not always going to happen that way. But the percentages say the quarterback's more likely, unless he's obviously a more mobile quarterback, to play 18 games in the running back.
Well, I can tell you this. And this is a fact. Not one quarterback in the National Football League last year, first-year player played in all 18 games. Not one.
First-year player?
Yeah, first-year player. Not one played all 18 games. Mm-hmm. It ain't going to happen, and it hardly ever happened. Even Justin Fields got hurt, and he was a second-year player. Mm-hmm. And the only player that probably played as much was the only one that got drafted in the first round, the player from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. There's my man. I texted him and got on him today.
What's up, Jason?
Yeah. Jason is going to be there April 3rd.
Oh, yeah, I got the email. They want me to help them create a list, send a list of the players. I'm going to start working on that tonight.
Yeah, but Jason is, Jason living his dream.
Jason, you want to play on my team?
Jason's big time now. Jason's a winner now.
What do you win? What did he win?
Jason can play some golf now.
I have to carry him, I believe.
Yeah. But the only problem is, and it's good for Jason, golf is played in the day because he has that Kirk Cousins. If he goes to Top Golf or anywhere that they have lights, he doesn't play well in the night.
So in other words, you're saying you turn the lights on Jason, he'll choke.
But in the day, shoot, Jason's a scratch golfer.
Cool.
At night,
April the 3rd, right?
April the 3rd. Jim Jeffcoat and friends.
Can't wait.
El Dorado Country Club.
El Dorado. I played there. Up in Frisco, Texas.
Yeah. Look at Jackson. How about those Vikings? Hey, I think they're going to be pretty good with Brian Flores. Now, there's another thing. They're talking about getting rid of Dalvin Cook.
Who are they going to have as a running back?
I don't know. That's a good question. They're talking about getting him because of salary and Thielen. So they're talking about getting rid of both of those guys. And there you go. And They're talking about giving Kirk Cousins an extension.
Kirk Cousins. Well, he played all 18 games, though.
Yeah, see? There you go.
But he wasn't a first-year player.
No, he wasn't. No.
So.
Maybe Saquon Barkley. That's a good one.
But we go keep Saquon with the Giants. That's what they need to do. Hey.
We'll see.
Yeah, we need to keep Saquon with the G-Mans.
Maybe Zeke.
Kenny Galladay was the guy we were trying to think of a while ago.
And they're going to get rid of him.
Yeah, he needs to go.
But they got to get some receivers.
They got to get some receivers.
And they got to get guys, just like the Cowboys, they got to get guys that can separate.
Well, they're saying that the Cowboys might get Odell Beckham.
I'm not big on Odell Beckham. Maybe I'm wrong. He's going to be 33 years old. He's had 2 ACL tears. I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong.
It just depends on how hard he's working right now to get that knee back up.
They had a video of him working out.
Huh?
They had a video of him working out.
Yeah, I saw that video of him working out. Now, I think he knows what it takes to play on that level. So I think he'll be good. I think he'll bring a value. I think he'll fit into the equation of what Dallas need. They need a receiver like that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because I think the Mike Evans would be a good choice or Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen,
that's what I'm saying. I think they're both a chance to be salary cap cuts. And I think both of those guys help you win.
Yeah.
I think Odell Beckham is a good player, but they're younger and they're what you need because you got that height. And then you can use CeeDee Lamb in different ways.
Well, Mike Evans is the only receiver for the last 8 years and got over every year. He's been over 1,000 yards. He's been very productive. He had a couple of drops this year, but for his productive in the last 8, however many years he'll play, he'll got over 1,000 yards every year.
Yeah, and they're talking about there's a possibility that the Cowboys might trade for Jerry Jeudy. They can't trade for Stephon Diggs, because Buffalo would take a $31 million salary hit if they trade for him. So that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question while we're talking about some of the salary cap cuts. Would you take a chance on Jalen Ramsey?
I would.
Why is that?
Just because of what he can bring to the defense. He's a shutdown corner. I think he's still at the top of his game.
You really do?
I still think he's at the top of the game. I think he's at the top of the game.
Wow.
I like his style of play.
Wow.
I like his style of play.
Have you watched the Rams this year? He was
awesome. I think he just missed time for stuff this year. And every now and then you're gonna have an off year. So I think he would come and be excited by a new atmosphere, a new environment. I think this would probably help him.
I saw him get beat by average receivers. He has changed. He could at one time he's similar to Patrick Peterson.
Yeah. They
were dominant corners.
And Reeves out. I think he still got that Reeves out.
But a lot of the great corners transitioned to safeties. Those two.
Right. Right.
And that's the thing, because they were bigger guys.
Charles Woodson is one of those guys.
Robert Woodson did it. Ronnie Lott did it.
Yeah.
So they could transition there. They were just, difference makers.
Right.
And they could do that, but not everybody can do that. I just think Patrick Peterson is past his prime.
Well,
I don't know why Ramsey has played so awful. The last 2 years he's struggled.
I think Jalen Ramsey and Odell Beckham might have a shot to be on the Cowboys team, because that's something Jerry Jones will do.
No, it isn't, because Jerry is moving farther out of the decision making. It's more Steven, and I can't.
But Jerry Jones want to go to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I know that, but I don't know if Jalen Ramsey is the player. They got to get a number 2 receiver that's consistent, because you can say what you want. When they had Amari as the number 1 and CeeDee Lamb, they really were better.
Oh yeah,
CeeDee Lamb could make plays, and Cooper went down, and they just didn't have anybody to replace CeeDee Lamb as the number 2 receiver.
Oh, I think now it just goes to show you that a knee injury is kind of really affected wide receiver more too, because
yes,
Gallup he just couldn't come back this year.
Yes, I agree with you.
He couldn't do it. He couldn't do his old cuts and breaks and things like that.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think what's happening is you'll see Dalton Schultz be let go. I think they're going to use those 2 young tight ends. And if you Travis Kelce actually talked about them and said that he thought their upside was tremendous.
The two young tight ends they have?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the shot, and I forgot the other one. But they got 2 young tight ends that they look like they're going to be pretty good. They're going to let Dalton Schultz.
And then they're going to have a new style of offense. Yeah,
it's going to be more.
Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. Green Bay's offense.
Right.
How do you think that fits Prescott?
I think he's gonna fit him better. Their offense last year and the last couple of years been so predictable, and then they don't do enough interchanging with, motion offsets, trying to create mismatches on the offense. And so now I think if you can do that, because Green Bay had a high-powered offense when Mike McCarthy was calling their plays.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested that you say that, because now this is Mike McCarthy. If he doesn't win this year, I wouldn't be surprised if they let him go sometime during the season.
I don't think he's gonna go nowhere. I think they're gonna be in a position to win. I think they ain't gonna lose too much, because I think they in a position to win. I just know that the NFC East, the Eagles ain't gonna win this year. So every year it'd be somebody new.
That is our next point. Is I want to get on is the Eagles. They lost their offensive coordinator. They lost their defensive coordinator. They lost assistant coaches in certain positions.
Mm-hmm.
How can they respond to that?
Well, I just think too, you might lose some coaches, but you ain't losing some of your players. As long as you ain't losing your players, then I think you can just get back in there ready to fire it up again.
So you don't think the coaching is that important?
Not like it was years ago. Just due to the fact that now you have more coaches moving, just like you have a lot of players moving.
But here's my point, and I heard what you just said. Do you remember? And I'll get to you about Derek Carr in a minute.
He going to the Jets.
Joe Judge, and before him, what was the other coach that was before Joe Judge?
I forgot his name.
But they went to the Giants, and the Giants struggled. Brian DeBall comes in with his system and Wink Martindale, and they have success. Is that players or coaching?
That's coaching.
That's my point. And you saw that with a lot of teams because they got better coaching.
But what happened in Houston?
I don't think that was a right fit. I mean, I thought the first coach, Culley, if they would have gave him time, he would have been very successful, David Culley.
Right.
I don't think Lovie Smith, it was kind of like a stopgap. And that's just my opinion on it. I thought they weren't. I thought Coley would have been a really good coach on it. But you can have exceptional talent, but if you don't have the kind of coaches that can coach that talent, then you're going to struggle. Let's look at it. Sean McVay, he wins the Super Bowl. Then the next year he wins 5 games. Is that players or coaching?
That's the injuries.
But
that's the injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the injuries that they had. The quarterback hurt. McDonald's out. I mean, they lost receivers. I mean, they didn't have the same team.
Yeah, but then that's Cliff Kingsbury gets fired. But he had injuries, didn't he, on his team?
Cliff Kingsbury, the year before, went 11-0. That's when he should have had his opportunity to really make a mark in the NFL. But no, he just lost the concept of the team, and then you got to get that quarterback settled down. So some of the things that Arizona did the year before last, and then this year they opened up with their top receiver missing the first 6 games.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can't win games without your key players, first of all.
Yeah. Before we forget, let's get to Jason with Derek Carr. Supposedly, the New York Jets have made Derek Carr an offer that he can't refuse, supposedly. But he wants to take time. He wants to take time because he has New Orleans. He'll probably get another couple of teams. He wants to make sure it's the right fit for Derek Carr. Now, the problem is Derek Carr thick-skinned enough to survive in New York? Because that's, the market because you played there.
That's what I was about to say. You got to get the right quarterback to go up to New York, especially with the Jets.
I don't think Aaron Williams is. Aaron Rodgers.
The pressure that's on you, the media will eat you up. So if you're not strong-willed and if you ain't got tough skin, you better not even go to New York. Don't even think about New York.
Oh, yeah. I grew up there, so I know.
Yeah, I forgot you got tough skin. But check this out, though. They were talking about earlier, they were talking about Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, or Jimmy G. Going to the Jets.
Derek Carr's never had a top 10 defense.
Right.
This would be the best defense that Derek Carr has ever played.
And I think he'll ball out. I really do, because like I said, this year the Raiders was up 3 games, 17-0, 17 points, and they lost those games. Yep,
that's my point.
So I think if you get in a position to where I think the chemistry there, you got good young players. He had the offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year for Sauce Gardner. I think that the Jets just need a quarterback.
I agree with you 100%. I think Derek Carr would be very successful. And one of our co-hosts, Jack Hirsch, doesn't think it. But I think Derek Carr would be good there. I would rather take him than Jimmy G or Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, because you never know what Aaron Rodgers is thinking from the standpoint. He might go there 1 year and say, forget it. I'm going to go into the darkness.
And that's another thing with Aaron Rodgers. He'll go up to the Jets and he'll get a TV deal. And then his focus not on football. Now he's going to be doing some other stuff.
Exactly.
Because he's a Hollywood guy.
Yeah. And then Jimmy G, I think the injuries are too much. And you notice that nobody's talking about him.
Jimmy G is going to get hurt. It's just a matter of when he's going to get hurt.
Now, if I'm looking at Derek Carr, he's already visited New Orleans. And here's my problem with New Orleans. And we talked about this before the show. Alvin Kamara's probably not going to be eligible to play. He'll probably get suspended this year. Michael Thomas has been having health issues, injury issues.
Whenever you stay out a full year like he did, it's going to be hell to get back in the game.
So they do have some young receivers. Olavi. But they still got some issues. I think that the Jets are closer to contending than New Orleans is. And then, obviously, New Orleans is in a weaker division because In the Jets division, though, you have Miami, who I think will be better because they'll have Vic Fangio running the defense. You got Buffalo and New England. And we all know that New England cheats, so they're gonna be better this year.
that's gonna be the toughest division in the AFC.
I can't argue with you. They should be the toughest division.
And this year they showed out this year. So all those teams are hard to beat. All those teams got great players.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And Bill O'Brien coming back is gonna help New England too.
Oh, Bill O'Brien, he can coach. He can coach.
Yeah, so that's the thing. He coached Mac Jones at Alabama.
Yeah.
So he kind of knows what he's getting himself into.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to be one of the tougher. I don't know if it'll be the toughest because the NFC East is still going to be pretty tough.
Yeah.
But the NFC East plays the AFC West this year.
And that's good. So they're going to have a longer trip across a little bit.
Yeah. But the only team, yeah. There's my man, Jack.
Now that Jack is a bad boy. Jack, he knows stuff.
But here's the problem, Jack. Derek Carr has been in the league for 9 years. He's been in there for 9 years. And I think he is what?
30, he about 30, 31.
Yeah. Where Aaron Rodgers is old. Why would you want Aaron Rodgers, Jack, as opposed to Derek Carr? Derek Carr.
I'll take Derek Carr any day. I'll take Derek Carr.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
I'm gonna put too tall on Jack. I'm gonna put too tall on Jack.
Jack is not afraid of too tall because he told me too tall don't know where he lives at. I'm gonna tell you.
I know where he lives.
I'm gonna get his address for too tall.
Yeah. I'm gonna send a picture of too tall.
But there's a lot of other news. There's an interesting thing with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
From the standpoint, they're probably gonna have to franchise him.
Well, they franchise tag him, he might sit out.
That's what I'm thinking. But they asked Todd Monken, who is the new offensive coordinator. He came from Georgia.
Yeah.
He has been in the NFL. He was at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right.
And they asked him what would he do if Lamar Jackson sits out. And he said, we're going to have to keep playing. I mean, we don't have a choice. They moved.
No, he going to say, I wish I would have stayed at Georgia. That's what he going to say.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield. There's a lot of things you got to do with Baker Mayfield. I wouldn't take Baker Mayfield over Carr.
I don't think Baker Mayfield ready to play in the New York atmosphere. You got to be a special guy to handle that atmosphere.
That's true. But I think I would take Carr. He would be cheaper. That's no question. But I think Baker Mayfield is probably better where he is because I'm not a huge Matthew Stafford fan. He needs to stay with the Rams. And it could be a possibility of Geno Smith, if they don't franchise him and he goes to Tampa Bay, then Baker Mayfield could end up in Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be some interesting moves.
Oh, there's no question about
it. In the next month or two, for sure.
There's no question about
it. Based off the draft, based off a lot of things happening.
No question about it. There is going to be some interesting moves. But I think that the fit between Carr and the Jets, Jack might disagree with it, but I think that's going to help the Jets. Because
I think the Jets would be better fit if they had Derek Carr. Of all the guys you talked about, Derek Carr would be the perfect fit because of what he could bring to that team and that defense. I think
they could challenge the Bills.
Yeah.
For the AFC Championship. That is going to be a really tough division.
Tough division. It's going to be interesting to watch football this year.
Yeah. But next thing is to talk about some of the things that else are going on coaching. And like you said, there's Arizona Cardinals defensive coordinator is 29 years old. He ain't even got hair on his face yet. 29 years old, and he's a defensive coordinator. And it was interesting. They hired their offensive line coach with me at Colorado. They're hiring a lot of college coaches at Arizona.
Yeah,
I don't know why that is.
Because of the word analytics. All you hear is analytics. So it's a different game. They coming up with the new concepts. These so-called. I just think football is still X's and O's. Okay,
that's what I agree.
And I just think you can get all the young blood you want to, but you better have somebody coming up and that know how to communicate with these players and can sit down in the classroom and film room and making sure that these guys are all the right cylinders for how you play this game.
And responsibilities.
Yeah. Because I see now, I still see some guys on the football field not making the mature decisions on the football field. I still see that. Another thing too that I don't see as much as we used to see is the leadership. Who's the captains? Who the guys wearing the C on his chest, but who are really the captains and leaders of the teams?
Who controls the locker room?
Yeah, who controls the locker room? Exactly.
And that's big. But here's the thing that I was thinking about, and maybe it's because of the coaches that I've seen, the Tom Landrys, the Marv Levy's, the Steve Spurriers, who I've been around,
right,
and even Wade Phillips.
And Bill Parcells. You've been around Bill Parcells.
Yeah, but they call the game on site. They see it, and they adjust to the game from a mental standpoint. They know certain formations tell them certain things.
Right.
And how people are going to attack you. And I understand analytics, but they can't tell you all the time how it's going to be attacked. The percentages they go off, they don't go off of what they see and feelings. A lot of times it's what you feel on certain things. The percentages don't always there because you can always change.
Right.
And you have to have adjustments. Prime example, in the Super Bowl, when Philly got beat on those 2 touchdowns, all they did the second half for Kansas City was make a little move. They changed it. And it was actually a bust the first time. And they liked it so much they did it again. And it screwed them up because analytics told me if that receiver goes in motion, he was going to cross the formation.
Go to the side. Yep.
He didn't. And they told that James Bradbury not Bradbury, but the DB, if he moves, he's going to cross the formation, beat him to the other side. What happened?
He didn't.
He came back out.
They did it with the wide receiver.
Wide open.
They did it with the wide receiver, and then they did it. Then they did it with the running back.
Yeah. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. You
have to be able to adjust, and you got to see it. Why didn't anybody say anything up in the coaching box?
Yeah.
That what would happen, and that's inexperience. That is inexperience.
So in other words, I still say you got to have some experienced coaches, and you got to make adjustment. Now that's what Kansas City did. They made the adjustment at halftime,
and it got them.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
And the game is a game of momentum. Whenever the momentum changes, and you got that momentum, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to beat that team.
Exactly. And while we're talking about Kansas City, Eric Bieniemy goes to the Washington Commanders.
He signed with the Washington Commanders.
That's
what he needs. He need to get out on his own. They keep saying that he's up under Andy Reid, blah blah blah. But this might be the best thing for him. Now we can really see if he can coach, if he can make the adjustment. And he got a big thing on his chest, target on his chest, and see if he can do it.
Yeah.
This might get Washington over the hump.
You think so?
Might.
It could be. Possibility, Jack. There is a possibility of that. But back to Eric Bieniemy.
Jack, the one thing about Jack, he's on top of it, though. I got to give him credit. He's on top of his stuff now.
Yeah.
I mess with him a lot.
I've seen Brown Nose and Jack and everything, but And he right, Jack does an excellent job.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does an excellent job. But back to Bieniemy. This was interesting. LaShawn McCoy comes out and says that the enemy is going to struggle. Bieniemy is going to struggle at Washington because he never was involved in the passing game. He was only involved in the run plays, which a lot of players.
Jack is nuts. The Mac and Jack show, baby.
Players came out to defend Eric Bieniemy, the players, former players, current players. Tyreek Hill got on him, and Tyreek Hill was the toughest one because he said, first of all, LaShawn McCoy was on the downside of his career when he got to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid even said there were young bulls there, and McCoy was on the down, and he fumbled in crucial situations.
Right.
And they think that McCoy is upset, but McCoy is like us in the media now, and he is trying to get a following by being controversial.
Yeah.
Because he tells everybody Dak is trash, this guy is trash. But he has to also realize is that sometimes, just like you said, it's a lot of analytics. A lot of things go into it. Some of those players are not. Everybody thought Daniel Jones wasn't very good. I like Daniel Jones.
They had cut him before the season started. They had Daniel Jones out of there.
Yeah, but the right system for him helped him.
All they were Tyrod. We want to see Tyrod Taylor play. We want to see this.
Yeah.
You got to go with somebody that you know he was your first round draft choice for a reason.
Yeah, and now they're saying the same thing. Everything looks good when it's shiny. They're saying, well, why don't we trade Justin Fields and get one of these young quarterbacks, Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud or the guy from
But check this out. Justin Fields had 2,242 yards, 17 touchdowns. He threw 11 interceptions, but he had another 1,143 yards rushing with 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
What quarterback coming out of college can come in and bring that? Nobody. I don't care what they say. You got to keep Justin Fields right there where he is.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson or Cam Newton. And that gets to a point that I want to make about you got to be careful with those type of quarterbacks because they're not going to sustain it. At some point, it's like a running back. All those hits are going to take a toll on them. And that's why I'd be afraid to give Lamar Jackson a lot of money because you don't know the length of his career. I think he is a phenomenal player. He's exciting. But is he –
Let me tell you why I would give Lamar Jackson some money. Because he was an MVP.
Yes, he was an MVP, but how much in the last 2 years, just like you said, he has not played all the games. He is not the same player. The pounding is taking a toll on him. And I'm not saying it, but when you utilize those type of quarterbacks.
Let me tell you what Lamar Jackson said. He missed some games. He still threw for 2,242 yards, 17 touchdowns. He had 7 interceptions, and he had 764 yards rushing. And I think he had 3 touchdowns. But when he played, they won majority of the game. I think they only lost.
I agree. They lost to Miami, remember?
Yeah.
And they were winning.
But they should have won that game.
I'm not questioning his talent. I'm questioning his long. If I'm going to pay somebody $45 million, he better be there to where I got to say, hey, we got to extend this contract.
No, if you pay somebody $45 million, you better have a good chance of playing in the Super Bowl.
You better, but the only one who's done it so far, we talked about that, is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. And the rest
we're going to have Herbert out of San Diego. He's going to have the possibility of a $50 million contract. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is going to get a big payday.
Yeah, he's going to get a big payday.
Mm-hmm. So those things.
So those are your top 5 quarterbacks. Name the top 5 quarterbacks then.
The top 5 quarterbacks right now.
Right now.
Mahomes, Herbert. Hurts,
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Who else?
And your fifth one would probably be, let me think about it. Dak is it, but he's not the number 5.
I would go with Lamar Jackson. That's who I would go with. He's the top 5 because of what he brings.
Oh, Joe Burrows.
Oh yeah, Joe Burrow. Yeah, Joe Burrow. Yeah, Joe Burrow. Yeah, Joe Burrow. Yeah, he's the top 5. He's the top 5. I don't care what nobody.
Yeah, so he's ahead of Lamar Jackson. I would go just like I said. Mahomes is number 1. You could put Josh Allen number 2, but you also could put Joe Burrow's number 2. But that's 3. That's 3 right there. So you got to look at it. Then you can put Justin Herbert up there.
Justin Herbert definitely in top 5.
Yeah.
For what he do, where he play.
Yeah. So that's what
the
I'm
2
saying.
quarterbacks that I like coming out of college in the last 4 years was Justin Herbert and Justin Fields. Those 2 football players right there, I thought was gonna bring it, and they right now they proven themselves. And I'm telling you, these 2 guys gonna be good quarterbacks in the National Football League.
But here's the thing you got to remember too is Chicago has more cap space than any other team. The problem is how do you spend it? You have to get guys. They went out and got the guy from Pittsburgh, and he wasn't that good.
Yeah.
See,
Well, that too. That's another thing too that nobody talk about is the scouting department of some of these teams. Some of them do a terrible job in evaluating players coming out of college.
Oh yeah.
So it's just that simple. You got to make sure you getting a stud player, somebody gonna be instant impact. You know, like your Hutchinson, like last year.
Yeah.
That kid, I saw him at the Super Bowl, man. He's a towering kid. He can play.
Oh really?
Yeah. I saw him at the Super Bowl.
Okay.
But I walked by him in the hotel, and you tell that he's a guy of stature, guy that's he's somebody you have to deal with on that football field.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. But that's the thing, you got to evaluate good.
You really do. I think I try to look at guys. I try to look at teams scouting department, and some of these teams that just ain't there they don't evaluate players good enough, I think, and that's kind of hurt some of the teams.
Yeah.
But I think, Chicago, they got a unique position. They got the first pick this year.
Yeah.
Let's see what they do.
They can make that if they don't need a quarterback because
they don't need a quarterback.
But they can move down and get somebody scared and get.
I think they're going to trade that pick with the Colts. I think the Colts want to trade up and get the quarterback that they want. Yeah, so that's what I think.
Yeah. So they know they're going to get a quarterback. Now they're talking about Matt Ryan is going to television.
Yeah.
He's talking about doing TV, Matt Ryan.
That'd be good.
Yeah. He's probably not going to play anymore and go to TV. But you're right. I think the Colts will make a move to jump over the Texans and get that pick.
Yeah. But the good thing about this draft, it's a lot of talent in this draft.
Do you think so?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of talent.
So you think this is a deep draft?
This is a deep draft. A lot better than last year's draft. A lot better.
So?
This draft here got some players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name your top 5 players.
Young, quarterback from Alabama. C.J. Strauss. The linebacker from Alabama.
Will Anderson.
That Wilson kid, the defensive lineman for Tech, is supposed to be outstanding.
Yeah. But do you think he's going to top 5?
Well, they got him. They moved him up from 10 to 5 the day, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends on what your needs are. And
what about Jalen Carter from Georgia?
Yeah, Carter. That's it. Yeah. He's one of those players that's gonna make instant impact. He's gonna be like Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think a wide receiver will be in the top 5 this year?
The wide receiver I really liked is wide receiver that was at TCU, and Ohio State got a good wide receiver.
Yeah, but he had injury issues.
Huh?
He had injuries. I don't think a wide receiver will be in the top 10.
No, I don't think no wide receiver will be in the top 10 this year like it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot of good wide receivers. There's a lot of good wide receivers.
Yeah.
And some lot of good defensive backs too, though.
Yeah, and there's a linebacker from Arkansas that's really good too. He's the top one. Yeah. The top inside linebacker. But most
wide receiver like last year, the wide receiver that came out of Arkansas that went to the Tennessee Titans. He wasn't quite ready. He wasn't quite,
He got better as the season progressed.
Yeah, he got better, but when they took AJ Green and traded him to the Eagles, I thought they should have kept AJ Green.
Yeah, shoot, yeah, that was crazy. Did you hear the comment AJ Green made? He said if they get rid of Jalen Hurts, they might as well get rid of him too, because he's going where Jalen Hurts is going.
Well, the one thing that I saw the Eagles was the commitment that they did in everyday film room. I was reading some of the things that they were doing. Jalen Hurts was always the first in there, the last one to leave. The time that he put in, I think he really knew what it takes to go to the Super Bowl, and it was a result of the season that they had. So
and he's a coach's son, so he understands.
And that's why I think the coaches that leaving Philadelphia, they're not really gonna miss him. That's what I think. Don't they keep the nucleus of that team together, the players?
You just got to have some confidant, I think, in the coaches. They ones that, when we're successful, was my confidant. He could speak this, how you speak to players.
Yeah. I think that's communication. Communication is a big factor for sure.
Yeah. So that's the thing you got to realize. And I don't know what type of relationship Jalen had with those offensive coaches that are leaving, but you never know. It's just like Kellen Moore. We're going to see if the relationship with Kellen Moore and Dak was that strong.
Yeah.
Or can McCartney, he just hired a guy, Token, who played for Wisconsin and played in the NFL. Is that relationship strong enough? Because like you said, it's communication.
And that was they go 6 coaches, 5 coaches.
Yeah,
the season. So they making some changes.
Yeah. It's a win now situation.
Yeah.
It's a win now.
And you know what? And that NFC East is so competitive right now.
Yeah, because I think Washington will be better. Obviously, New York has got a chance to be better. And then Philly, that's the question mark. Philly is really, and I know that some people that we talk to, Pags, won't say that, but they're starting with some interesting things going on because they lost quite a bit. And I know you say the players, but people.
And that's the result, just like the Rams. Whenever you lose coaches and players combination, it really affects the team.
Yeah, no question. It's kind of like the J&B talking shop. If you lose me, then then the J&B would be just B, and it is struggle.
It's a struggle, but you just got to find a shining head somewhere. Yes. we got to go find a head, a ball head, or something. What is football at? Give me the football. Give me the football. Hey.
And that's true, Jack, but he's taking a beating.
Yeah, I mean,
but in a normal situation, but he runs the ball so much.
He likes to run the ball. He likes to run the ball.
And that scares me.
You got to be, the one thing. Hey, this is what we talked about last year. The one thing that helped Daniel Jones was his decisions on that football field and his pocket presence.
I agree. But here's Jackson. Lamar Jackson is the greatest running quarterback in history.
Yeah. Well, the first 6 years, 5 years.
Michael Vick was pretty good.
Did you ever sack Michael Vick?
No, I didn't ever play against Michael Vick.
I would love to play with Lamar Jackson because he and I would have been on the same page, baby. You're right, Jack.
Oh, you
now Jack is talking now.
I don't think he's great.
He's talking my language.
Cam Newton was a great running quarterback and a thrower. Fran Tarkenton was a very agile quarterback and a thrower. So I don't think he's the greatest running quarterback. I think Justin Fields is going to be the same, and he's going to do a lot of the same things that Jackson does. And like you said,
I think Lamar Jackson's in the top 2 or 3 for sure.
So you're saying Randall Cunningham?
Yeah.
Better than him?
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
No, Lamar Jackson still got a lot to go. I'm telling you, that boy bad.
Yeah. Interesting.
But you know what he did this year? Seemed like he settled down more throwing the ball on the run.
Yeah, and then Patrick Mahomes, remember, he was a running quarterback, and he changed his whole thing.
Yeah, he did.
So, Dante Culpepper, that's a hard point to make. I don't know if he's I think he, like you said, he's up there, but I don't know if he's the greatest because there's been some greater quarterbacks who've made it to the Super Bowl in their careers.
But you know what? Now you're going to have more quarterbacks being able to be mobile and do something.
And that's not a problem. But, Jalen Hurts can run. But Jalen Hurts has 2 great receivers in Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and he has a receiver, tight end in Dallas Carter. Those things help.
Those things help.
The passing game is important with quarterbacks.
But Jalen Hurts, he hurt his shoulder this year. I'm telling you, when you run, you better protect yourself.
That is true, and I agree 100%.
Yeah, you better protect yourself.
And I agree with you 100% on that.
Josh Allen, he's
right.
That ball
Josh
too,
Allen is huge. 6'5", 235?
He can run. He'll run over you.
Big, yeah. For a quarterback. And you're right, but Josh Allen got banged up too.
He got banged up.
And that's a concern. That is a concern. Can he sustain that? Even as
and then I do want to say this because I'm on the executive committee. There were 7 to 15 fields considered unsafe in that football league. Mm-hmm. So fields have something to do with injuries too.
I would agree too, because they should have never took that field out and put it back in. They should have kept it in and opened the ceiling.
Yeah.
And they painted it green, you know that.
Yeah.
And that hurt it. So
that hurt it. Exactly.
And I agree with you. And that was one of the fields that was in question. So
those Trey fields right now still got some ways to go. I think they're going to have to do some more testing on those fields. And no, it's just the cleats that you got to wear certain types of cleats. So it's a lot in the equation of how these fields can be played on.
Yeah. I think they need to go to more grass myself personally.
Well, the players want more grass. They definitely want more grass.
That was a grass field, but I think they do.
Yeah.
But you know what?
What?
Tonight has been like the month of February.
Went quick.
Blur.
We talking football, baby. We talking football.
Even when it's not. And we haven't even got into the XFL, USFL, or any of that stuff because there's so many things going on.
I was going to say something about Denver Broncos. They're going to be good to go this year.
Yeah. They got to get a DC.
But the G-Mans is going to be tough.
Cowboys will win the division. So
I figured you were going to say that. That's why I said something about the G-Mans.
But as always, it's been great being here with you. We got a couple more seconds now. And I'm
trying to do the waddle,
Yeah. You better hope Waddle comes to New York.
That's what we need. I need to get the Waddle. I need to put him on the trading block.
Yeah. But this is going to be a great offseason. This is going to be a really good offseason.
The combine, the draft, they're going to be good. It's going to be some good stuff.
March Madness is coming up. I'm excited about March Madness.
Oh, yeah.
Go over there and watch the Final Four.
I was averaging 20-something points in high school now.
Yeah.
Either hand.
Well,
you ain't got that. You ain't got that wrist action. You ain't got that wrist
when
action.
people are 5'4". But it's great as always. Enjoy being here with you, and I'll see you next week. See ya.
Good night.
Good night.